Hey guys, welcome to Frontline Foam. My name is Derek. We're going to be talking about the best blasters of 2024. This, of course, is going to be, from my perspective, in my opinion. There are a ton of blasters out there. We thought about we could do a video on off-the-shelf blasters, actual Nerf blasters. We could do just 3D printed, homemade hobby blasters. We could do just the high power or low power. And because of all that, we're just going to do the best overall, from my opinion, based off of a balance of budget, performance, and then overall value for the price. Without further ado, I think we'll just start with the MHP LMG. It has both the performance and the cool tactical feeling. Released in 2024, it was designed by MHP Arms, Mr. Heath Pants, Keith Hale. He's a local Utah Nerfer, which makes it even more cool in my own home state. But it is a belt-fed, fully automatic machine gun. And so you get the cool features of being able to load links, have them eject out the side, you can swap your ammo box. But you also get the high performance of being a flywheel blaster. You can have different cage setups, and so you can shoot between 100 and 300 feet per second. So not only do you have the cool tactical features of the cycling bolt and all that, but you also have the high performance of that 300 FPS. And so number 7, I think, the only reason why it ranks lower in the tier is because it is less practical with the belts you have to reload, and the ejecting is more cleanup, and the price is about $450. Because of that, it doesn't rank super high, but I think it's definitely one-of-a-kind blaster. High performance, belt fed, it looks the part, it feels the part, and because of that, it is just overall awesome, and therefore it has made my top 7 list. You can also, of course, it is 3D printed, and so if you are a tinkerer, you can try to build your own as well and get the parts, so you have the additional added value of being able to build it or spend less money and get it if that's what you're into. But you could run it, say, in HVZ. It can hold 50 links in just this box alone. You can get bigger links. So there is some practical advantage, but it is definitely best suited for full auto suppressive fire. The long barrel is a little less accurate than some other options, but it's just a lot of fun. All right, then the next one is definitely worth mentioning. Of the best releases of 2024 is actually kind of a remake of a blaster that's been around for a while. That is the BK1. Now this is the BK1S because it is an upgraded model from the BK1. The original BK1 had a lot of, problems, you could say, with reliability, gear stripping and stuff like that. Then they redid the BK1S. It is designed by Zeus Blasters, a little word Zeus there. But the insides are powered by electronics by T238, which is the maker of the Flash V car. They also do other different flash suppressive kind of attachments and gel blasters as well. So this is an injection molded blaster made from overseas, which means it has a good price tag of only $150. But the real kicker is it is an AEB, or an automatic electric blaster, which means that it is automatic, electrically cycling, but it is spring powered. So you have the power and accuracy of a spring blaster with the rate of fire and the semi and full auto options of an electric blaster. So it's an AEB. Out of the box, it hits about 140 to 150 feet per second, and it can get up to 200 feet per second if you dial it in and modify it. And so for $150, you get 200 FPS, semi and full auto AEB. Great accuracy. Overall, I think is a really cool, of course, an AR, real steel, oh no, kind of feel. The only downside to the BK1 is because it is an AEB, it can have some reliability as far as dart pickiness and feeding goes. And so if you do know how it works, learn how it works, and are okay with modding or tinkering, you can get the best value out of this. But it also has these proprietary magazines that are not normal, like Talon or common style magazines. And so you do have a different magazine system. That's not too bad though, because they're only, like $8 a piece or something like that. The BK would rank higher on my list, but it's at number 6 because it is only at most 200 FPS, and it does have some of those reliability issues of once you know how it works, it's more reliable for you. Because if you get a dart jam or something like that, then you have to know how to clear it, which is not great for younger kids or new nerfers. But for $150, getting an AEB, it's great for what it does. If you're a run and gun or kind of like indoors, you have super high accuracy and high rate of fire. And for $150, that's a great price. Is the BK1S. We have what I think is a more recent release, actually released near the end of this year. So It hasn't really hit the rounds yet, but it balances the aesthetic, the ergonomics, the practicality, the performance, and accuracy all together into one package. That is the Sirius 747, designed by Hing Yip, a Chinese designer. We've been licensing through him and stuff, but the Sirius, to sum it up, is like the BK or other blasters, is a compact full auto flywheeler. And so if it's full auto, you want a compact, great for CQB. And the reason why I think it is one of the best blasters of 2024 and perhaps the best flywheelers of all time is because with the right setup, it can pack a punch and is very accurate. It has a built-in inline B car, which from my experience makes it one of the most accurate flywheelers I've used to date. And with the right setup, like we mentioned, you can hit between 100 all the way up to 180 feet per second, depending on the darts you use. And so it not only is super accurate, it can be high powered as well, and it is really compact. It, in addition, uses straight Talon magazines, which means they use a mag style that you probably have a lot of. The magazine is easy to swap. Just hit that lever, the mag drops clean, and it looks like a P90 feel, but it loads like a bullpup, so you get the practicality of compact, but you also get the reload, which is less inconvenient than a normal P90 top load, and so it's really unique blaster. Next on the list, we're gonna kind of look at the balance between budget, because a lot of nerfers are doing this, it's just a hobby for fun, and they don't have a lot of money to spend, and these are toys in the end, and so a lot of people getting into it like to find great value for the dollar. And number 5 overall on the 2024 list is the Adventure Force Maxim. The Maxim is for $40, 150 FPS flywheeler. Being on the receiving end of the Maxim and playing against it, as well as holding it and using it a few times, it, I think, is one of the best blasters of 2024. It came out in 2024, only $40. You can get it at Walmart, and it is high power, and it's a flywheeler. So you've got the rate of fire, 150 FPS, can get you into all the games you want, and it is adjustable, so you could go for a lower FPS or a higher FPS. It doesn't rank super high on my list because it does cap out 150 FPS, but for $40, that's a great value, and that means that you can get into the hobby really easily and play around with the Maxim in a game or in an event, see how you like it, and go from there. It's a great stepping off point for those getting new to the hobby. The Maxim by Adventure Force. The next one, though, on the list isn't necessarily low cost, but I think is extremely high performance. It is the Apex Prime by Saber. Not on the wall yet. Our shipment just cleared customs. It should be here. I'm so excited. But the Apex Prime is an all-metal blaster, so it has a pretty hefty price tag at about $450. But I was able to get one from them directly in Singapore and use it in 2 events there. Okay. And I've used it in 3 or 4 events since then in the dusty hills of Utah, as well as take it over to the other side of the US in the jungle of New Jersey. And through everything, it was able to maintain its level of performance with hardly any maintenance, which is really hard to say for a lot of, put together blasters. Even like off the shelf ones, you usually get dirt or grime in there and it bogs it down, but the Apex Prime didn't have that problem for me. And because of its large plunger volume and long barrel, it's able to hit 300 FPS out of the box, almost no problem. And so it's both high performance and really durable. I like to say it's kind of like the only blaster you'd ever really need to buy because it'll outlast you. That's what Saber said they intended it to be, is a blaster that you could give to your grandkids. Unlike a lot of toys or whatever we have these days, eventually they break. But the Apex Prime, I think, is kind of the one all be all Springer because it can do a side prime and pump action, which is nice. The only bad thing about it, again, is it is all metal, which means it's also heavy and expensive. And so I put that in number 4 on my list. Personally, I think that's my go-to high FPS blaster. And so most of the things that we're gonna be talking about on Frontline Foam is high performance or high FPS. And the Apex Prime, I think, is almost bar none when it comes to that potential of durability matched with performance. And for $450, that's about the same price as most all-metal blasters. There's actually no other all-metal blasters that I think are as worth it as the Apex. There are some that are worth it, but usually they're more gimmicky. But enough about them. The next one we're gonna talk about is a brand new release, and it's on my list because it does check the box of high performance, high accuracy, and low price, is the Worker Kunlun. This is an injection molded Worker blaster. Comes in orange, white, and gray. It is, as you can see, actually bolt action Springer. and it is mag fed. This is the mag it comes with, but it can also take Talon magazines. It is a high FPS blaster. You can see everything that comes with here is included. The long barrel and 300 FPS bring it out of the box. So we're talking 300 FPS off the shelf. It's only $200 US, $200. And so for $200, you get a 300 FPS blaster ready to go. I think that might be the best bang for the buck to get you that 300 FPS mark. Are there any other blasters out there that can hit 300 out of the box for $200? You let me know, but I don't think it's possible. I don't think I've ever seen a blaster able to hit 300 FPS out of the box. You know, maybe some off-the-shelf blasters with mods can, but off-the-shelf, even like you could get high 200s, 280s, 270s, but a consistent 300. So it is designed to be a sniper-esque platform, which is why it has a really short, stubby mag that makes the aesthetic really nice. The only gripe on the Kunlun is it is not ambidextrous, so you cannot run the bolt handle on the other side, and they did not put enough rail on the bottom. And so you have to have your attachments up front, which can feel kind of off. And it was designed, and I'm pretty sure, for a larger stature frame than my own. Kunlun, I believe, means mountain in Chinese, which is what they designed it after, kind of a chunk of a blaster. The Worker Harrier was probably one of the best releases of all time made by Worker, and they took that, scaled it up, made the Kunlun. And so 300 FPS out of the box for $200. Of course, I mentioned the accuracy, but that just goes to the general Worker build quality. That air seal is phenomenal. Of course, sometimes Worker O-rings will wear out and whatnot, but straight out of the box, super accurate, super high power. You got rubberized cheek rest, rubberized butt plate, rubberized grip, metal rails. And it's fairly easy to mod with taking out the screws like the Harrier, swapping the springs, or unscrew the barrel. It also comes with this aesthetic clamping barrel shroud. And so again, value, power, performance, the Kunlun, I think, is number 3 of all time 2024. And then number 2 of all time is because, again, of the price and the power value, also the availability. I think this is probably the blaster that revolutionized the hobby when it came out in 2024. We have the Dart Zone Nexus Pro X, not to be confused with the regular Nexus Pro that they released in years past, which, as far as I'm aware, was kind of unreliable. It jammed a lot, and the performance was usually 160, 170. This, straight out of the box, hits 200 feet per second. It's available at your local Walmart for $50. And not pictured here though, it includes a B-car barrel attachment that makes this blaster, in my opinion, one of the most accurate out-of-the-box blasters I've ever used, hands down. And at 200 FPS, you have the power ready to go out of the box. You have a quick swap Talon compatible mag well that has a quick drop right there, all ready to go. And it is equipped with slam fire for rapid fire shots and an adjustable stock. And that rattling is a battery that I have in my stock, because I found out that if you put a AA battery in your stock, you can then have this blaster with this quick tuning cap shoot from 200 FPS all the way down to 130 FPS with not needing anything else out of the box. So out of the box, 130 to 200 FPS slam fire. I kid you not, super good accuracy. You can sight down the entire top rail, lots of rail options there, and a B card that comes with it. This is my new go-to blaster for our local events, for a Springer go-to blaster, because it's really accurate out of the box, and it's really easy to tune up and down for different FPS caps. Again, it does cap out at 200, which probably wouldn't make my top tier, because I usually shoot more than the 250 to 300 FPS range, but because it's $50, you can get a 200 FPS, super laser accurate, all those cool things. It's so good actually that the reason why I don't have the B-car on it is because somebody walked away with it at an event. I lost a Nexus Pro X because it was so good, they just had to walk home with it. So one of the only blasters I ever had stolen as well. So, $50. That air seal, again, 2024, out of the box, air seal, phenomenal. My only gripe with it is, there is not a dart aligner on the top of the mag well, so your dart could actually end up feeding too high into it. So there is some reliability issues if you shoot used darts. It's a little bit pickier than some other blasters. And again, 200 FPS is about the cap. You could do a stronger spring. The Nexus Pro X, it changed the game of 2024 for 50 bucks. Well, we wanted to keep this video with, you know, not too many, because there's so many blasters to talk about. One of the hardest things for me is to figure out, okay, what are my top blasters 2024? Honestly, like, I either like something and that's all I care about, or I just like everything else equally. So I really like one thing and then everything else is equal, so picking like 5 or 7 is really hard. But some honorable mentions that came out in 2024, we have the Aeon Pro X, which also hits really high, like 200 FPS out of the box, which is a sister blaster, the Nexus Pro X. We also have the Nightingale 2.0, which is Worker's remake of the Nightingale 1.0, which they've discontinued and stopped selling, but it is probably one of the most popular sidearm blasters because it's got full auto, high capacity magazine, it's fairly small for its size, and it's really high rate of fire, which is what you need in a sidearm, so it's a really popular pistol. That being said, some other really popular blasters still throughout 2024 that may have been out for a while is the HC Diana by Haichao or Hairtech. Because it is high power, again, high FPS, brushless sidearm, some of the best pistols out there. And then some other honorable mentions would be Frontline Foams. I guess people who come to Frontline Foam, some of the blasters that they are most interested in have been, again, the good old Caliburn 4 or the C4 pump action Springer. It's basic, but it's tried and true. It's been around forever, the Caliburn. And of course you have the Sweetheart Storm is probably one of my ultimate favorite go-to blasters. It is, again, an AEB for $300, which is not bad. You get over 300 FPS performance, can dial it up and down. You have the Griffin, which is the Protein's predecessor that was still popular through the early 2024 year, as well as the Keyring and the Spring Thunder, which are shell ejecting, so they're fun. The all-time, I think, 2024 game changer, it has only been out recently, but it's a game changer, I think, personally, because of its versatility. And as far as the, I guess, overall features goes, it has a high value for somebody who's able to, I guess, make and build their own blaster. So if you're going for budget value off the shelf, you know, there are some things that would probably be cheaper that have good performance. But I think as far as what I've noticed to be the jack of all trades to make it the best is the Protein, or the Proteon, depending on how you pronounce it. This is a 3D printed blaster that you can build yourself. It is a semi-automatic, flywheel powered, talon fed blaster. It has quick swap ability, so you can have different stock styles to then change out your aesthetic and also ergonomic. And it has this inline B-car attachment that when I first used the Protein in my first event, it was way more accurate than I expected out of a flywheeler. And I think it's because of this inline B-car, that flygonial design along with the Protein. And because of its takedown pin quick swap nature, you can do really fast swap cages. So between 100 FPS up to 300 FPS, you can have one blaster that's able to swap between those all of those. And for that reason, it is my opinion that I think it is the best blaster of 2024 because it can do all of those things at a quick swap potential. So they start off at around $160, $180, and then up to $280 for the 300 FPS cage. So price-wise, it is a little more expensive than some other options, but because of the quick swap, you then are able to use it in whatever event you want, and it's very accurate. I think that the Protein, the cons of Protein are it is 3D printed, and so you do have to build it yourself or print it such that the quality is sufficient to meet your standard. So if you're printing it in a low temp filament, you may have to be careful about it warping or melting in the sun. So overall durability, it's not great, but if you can fix it yourself, then durability matters a lot less. And if you do get a broken part or something, you can quick swap and exchange those parts out. This one's covered in dust because I've taken it to a lot of events, but I remember at one event, 300 FPS or no FPS cap event, was able to hold my ground and terrify everybody else with how fast the rate of fire is. the trigger actually has a higher gear ratio, so you can have more shots or faster rate of fire. And so it's great for suppressive fire at a high FPS or tune it down for low FPS games. And then the accuracy of the B-car, which you can quick swap for different twist ratios or different FPSs to really dial in your own blaster. And if you have good print quality, then getting that inline B-car to sit and be accurate is very satisfying to be able to say, I made this as good as it is. So whether you like 3D printed blasters or off-the-shelf blasters, whether you're on a budget or not, hopefully you found something useful in our top 7 best blasters of 2024. This is my, of course, personal opinion on what I believe would be best ranked based on higher performance and overall price to value ratio. But as far as Frontline foam best of 2024 goes, like we mentioned that some of these we don't sell or haven't sold yet, or some of them just came out, so we don't know how good they're actually gonna be. But based off of your votes, off of your dollars spent on what the most popular overall of all time blaster is, can you guess it? It's the Carney Rex flintlock musket. Like, every time we think about it, no one can believe that. No one in the shop is like, we had no idea what sells well. So this is the 2024 showstopper of what you guys have voted on with your money. I believe that is because it's a meme, you know, the founding fathers and all that, you know, defend your home as the founding fathers intended. But it has this functional features of a fake hammer and flint pan. Of course, you got your sling loops. You've got your detachable bayonet. And then you can ramrod prime. There you go. And then ramrod load and then fire this musket. And you can hear that pop. So it is what we call a functional prop. And some people think, oh, it's a prop that can do this. But no, it's a prop that looks realistic, and also it can shoot over 200 FPS. Of course, you've got one shot every ramrod, but because of that, you can actually plink with it. And I actually ran this at an event once at a laser tag arena. I got like 2 tags the entire day, and it was really hard to navigate CQB with this 4-foot long thing, but it's super fun. And it is our most popular blaster of 2024. Again, not very practical. It's about $200 and can shoot between 100 and 200 feet per second. And so it's mid-tier performance to high-tier performance, mid-tier price range, not very practical. And so for me personally, in my opinion, I don't think that I would personally ever buy one of these. But you guys have voted based on your dollars that this is your favorite blaster of 2024. It's been around for quite a few years though. Carney Rex, you can see his logo here on the side. He's done quite a few kind of musket kind of designs over the years, but he's never really, I think, offered them to sell at scale. And because we were able to partner with him and get licensing with him, we've been able to bring this into so many hands of LARPers, children, and adult enthusiasts alike. And so this is the most popular blaster of 2024. So there's a recap of 2024 for you from a hobby perspective and from a Frontline foam perspective. I focus, of course, on higher power value for your money. Let us know what you think is the best blaster of 2024, or if you forgot something. There's a lot of blasters out there, and everybody has their own preference. And so let us know what you value in a blaster as well, because it's always fun to hear different people's opinions. So if you thought this video was useful or entertaining, at least feel free to like or subscribe, all those kinds of things. If you do follow us on our social media or subscribe to our newsletter, you can get early access to new releases, like all these blasters up here that we've released. We like to give our existing customers and subscribers early access to those to make sure that they can get it first, so they can show off to their friends and they can outshoot other people as well. You can also hear about new releases beforehand as well, sometimes many months in advance. We also do various promos and discounts that you can get any of these blasters for as well. So subscribe to our channel and keep an eye out on our updates as we go. We have a ton of projects. This doesn't even scratch the surface, but this is probably our biggest end of year video. That being said, that means that there's been like 18 videos up to this point. And so you can get started early on next year by following our channel.